Hey everyone, and welcome to the Babylon Chronicles, a podcast dedicated to taking a look at the inner workings, the discussions, and the shenanigans involved with making one of the world's most powerful, beautiful, simple, and open web rendering engines, Babylon.js. My name is Jason Carter, also known as Pirate JC. I'm joined as always by my co-host, David Catu, or on the Babylon world, on the forum, you're known as
Delta Kosh.
The Delta Kosh, the creator, the original. And we are joined by a very special guest today, somebody coming from the other side of the world. That doesn't mean anything because nobody knows where we are.
Yeah, you mean Chicago, right?
Yeah, I'm in Chicago. I'm Alexa Carpenteir. I work for CodeBaby, and I'm the creative director.
We love it. Alexa, it's been such an honor to meet you and get to hear your story. And I can't wait for everybody who's listening to hear it as well.
We have one thing to note, right? Alexa, your last name is French. Carpentier in French means building with wood, right? Like the carpenter. So yeah, that's why you are very special today. Probably my favorite host, favorite guest as far as I know, right? Because all the people don't have French names.
Yeah, I've been trying to practice the French pronunciation of it. Carpentier, I think is how it's supposed to. Perfect. Yeah, you got it for me.
That's good. I've just learned to drop the last letter of every word, and suddenly it's French. That's what I've been told.
Very true. Ignore the R. We don't need the R. Who wants that, right?
We don't need that in there. Every last letter is silent for some good reason. Alexa, let's do this. Let's start with a little bit about CodeBaby. I'd love to hear what CodeBaby is. And then at the same time, maybe you can interweave a little bit of like your story and how you kind of came into CodeBaby and like what was your inspiration into getting into this world. So yeah, let's start with what is CodeBaby?
Yeah, so CodeBaby, we work simultaneously with AI and animation to bring AI to life and give it kind of a face and a voice and a whole personality to it. So I got into this when I was a kid. I was really into, weirdly enough, Google SketchUp. It's a CAD program. That was like my first interaction with animation. I started building houses and turned into cities and malls and everything else you could imagine within there. And that really started my love for animation. I ended up going to DePaul University and studying it further. And I ended up getting into CodeBaby randomly enough. One day while I was bartending and I was still in school, a now neighbor of mine and our COO, she came into my bar, sat down, and overheard me having a conversation with a couple of other DePaul students sitting at my bar, and heard me mention that I was in 3D animation. And she leaned over. Yeah, exactly. She leaned over. She was like, "Oh my God, not to eavesdrop, but I heard that you're in animation. We are looking for an animator." And I was so happy. Having a job come to you instead of having to find it is.
Oh my gosh, yes.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah, I grabbed some receipt paper, wrote down all my information, got a call from her eventually, and now I've been here for a few years, and I absolutely love what I do.
That is crazy.
Okay, that's crazy good.
Most important question. The CEO comes to your bar, offers you a job. Did you remember her drink?
Yes, she had a blueberry mojito.
Okay, there we go. Good for you.
What does that tell about her? I would love to know because I have no idea.
What was that question?
Yeah, what does that drink tell us about her?
What does it say about it? Yeah.
It means you like something a little fresh, a little fruity. You know, it's a perfect drink to end the night.
I love it. Good. I love it. That's so good. That's so good.
I'm sure people listening to the podcast were not ready for that. Like having some.
One of the things, Alexa, that I absolutely love is the fact that for anybody who doesn't know Google SketchUp, free tool that you could use to do some basic 3D construction, kind of like CAD, but very, very approachable, like a lot more approachable than traditional CAD software. And this SketchUp product is something that is really fun and easy to play with, but it's not necessarily a traditional path into animation.
Well, yes, I agree.
So I actually really like the fact that what you might consider more architecture, engineering-ish of a program, granted with some limitations, actually took you into a kind of a different part. So your first exposure to 3D is not traditional for a creative director, I don't think. And I love that story. I think that's super cool. So you said you made malls with SketchUp, like full, like that. Tell me about it. Did you name these places? Do they have names?
They all had names. Yes. I was going through giving everything backstories. And I think that's where it comes in, the more creative aspect of it versus the CAD aspect of it. None of this was a actual blueprint that should be used for any building. But it was more of just building like sets and scenery. And I just had so much fun with it as like a 7 or 8 year old.
Yeah, for sure. So is it safe to say, because I'm kind of obsessed with this concept, is it safe to say that for you as a creative person and you know, a young creative person with an imagination going wild, this helped you bring the ideas in here into existence in some way?
Absolutely. Yeah. It was a way for me to, I'd come up with an idea, I'd sit around, I'd think of what would be a really cool store to build. And I'd go into Google SketchUp and I'd start putting it all together without a single thing.
And how do you pick SketchUp? Like, did you just do a search on internet and figure out, okay, what's the 3D tool I can use? Hey, here is SketchUp.
Yeah, my parents really liked HGTV. We used to watch a lot of it growing up. So I was like, well, I want to make floor plans. And I ended up finding that. My dad helped me install it, showed me a little bit of how to use it, and then I just took it from there.
I love it. That's
the question now is, do you still use it or did you move to something else?
Oh, she's moved on. She's moved to big leagues. Yeah.
We're in Babylon now.
Of course, but for the creation part, do you still use a DCC tool? Is it Blender, 3ds Max, Maya?
She's going big leagues.
Yeah, I use Maya.
Oh my gosh! So from SketchUp all the way to Maya.
It's a big jump. That's a big jump.
Okay. It's a not very typical pipeline for sure.
No, it's not.
Yeah, that's for sure. You know, David and I for years have had a shared philosophy. Not to go too ethereal with this, but we both believe that all people are creative. We say that all people are artists, but they use different paintbrushes. And if you think about the idea that we're all creative people, all with imaginations, then how you bring your ideas to life, those mechanisms are just tools, right? So an engineer, a software engineer, can use code to bring their idea to life. A digital artist can use a digital camera or Photoshop, a combination thereof. Insert thing here. So what I love about your SketchUp story is you're a creative person and you found a tool and it's just a tool to help bring your ideas to life.
And it helps you on your journey. Right. That's cool. Yeah. It's a very cool story.
It's an incredibly cool story, but David's not wrong. The journey from SketchUp, which is a very approachable, I don't want to say it's made for kids, but it's definitely made for people who are getting into 3D for the first time, to Maya, which is the predominant industry standard for
which is a monster
films,
complex,
the biggest productions and VFX, you name it. That's a journey, Alexa.
Yeah, I know. I skipped over the Blender phase somehow. Yeah. We just went straight into Maya.
Yeah.
Well, here you have one of the big fan of Blender. I love that product with my soul. It's definitely aligned with my view of open source and everything. Right. Yeah. Whereas Maya a little bit less.
So I actually did the opposite journey. My journey started right with Maya from the very, very beginning, right into college. I started getting into 3D in Maya. And then I went to Blender once they made the switch over because the UI became suddenly approachable in 2.8.
Well, there was a UI before, there was not, and then there was one.
That's exactly right. Yeah, everybody wants to use right click to select. Yeah, that's human knowledge for sure. Anyways, Alexa, let's come back to CodeBaby for a little bit. So CodeBaby is a framework, my words here, a framework for creating 3D visualizations, avatars, a bunch of different things. You have a whole bunch of products, solutions that you've put where there's a front end to AI systems, right? So these are I don't know what the term is, embodiment of AI. What would you call it? What does CodeBaby call these things?
Yeah, I would say it's a characterization of AI. We like to focus on those more stylized characters. We feel like it's a little bit more inviting than seeing something that's super hyper realistic in front of you.
Yes.
To avoid the uncanny valley as well by going the stylized route. But yeah, we're characterizing AI.
I love that. And let's be clear here, just to kind of bring people along for the journey. So obviously, chatbots have become, ubiquitous everywhere, and now there are voice layers that are on top of that, right? We've seen more and more voice interaction layers starting to become more commonplace, and kind of the current thing that we're seeing. I mean, there's innovation all over, but one of the current things as far as the evolution of chatbots is concerned is giving a visual representation to that chatbot, right? So any of these large language models that you can interact with via chat, they evolved into now you can interact with natural voice and it'll give you a natural sounding voice back. And now we're moving in, you're seeing a lot of advancement and research and product definition in what does it mean to have a visualization? Yes. What do those voices look like?
Characterization, you said it's a good one, like making it a character and not just a voice.
So CodeBaby is a company that is really pioneering a brand new kind of area in this world where we interact with large language models on a daily basis. What are the principles as a creative director that you think about? Obviously, I know you have clients and you have to cater different looks to clients, but if we bubble it up a little bit, are there things that you think about when it comes to, okay, customers of these clients are going to be interacting with a characterization of AI? What are the types of things that go through your head on how do we represent that to people?
So I think the biggest factor for us is, since we are characters that speak to you, is the mouth. The mouth is a very, very important part of what we do. We've had clients in the past who want non-human characters and stuff. So it's always an interesting design process for us to go through to figure out how would a chicken character speak to you? How would a duck character speak to you, and so on. So there's a lot of different aspects as well that we have to think about, such as how does the character move while still staying focused on you? And also we really care about diversity and stuff and making a large variety of characters, even just in our gallery.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Great.
So are you custom hand animating phoneme shapes, like the shape of the mouth to a certain sound? Is it procedurally generated, combination thereof? What's your approach creatively, and what's CodeBaby's technical approach?
Yeah, so we use the phonemes. So I make different blend shapes for each mouth shape that the character would go through. And then we line it up inside of our platform. We're able to tweak things. So I can add things like a smile or a blink on a certain phoneme, those extra little details. But yeah, everything is linked up so that way the program then, when the AI is talking, it can just automatically register, okay, we're making an S sound now. Pull up the S blend shape.
So that's coming from Maya, right? You're creating in Maya. And what format are you using to export that to the Babylon engine?
I'm actually using the Babylon exporter in order to export from Maya. Maya does not have its own GLB exporting capabilities.
Yeah, we know.
So, it is certainly quite a process to figure out what's the best way for us to export this. Originally, our pipeline was, since I'm just better equipped to work inside of Maya, I would model something out, then export it to FBX to Blender, and then export it to GLB from there. So it was just a long process. But once I found that you guys had your own exporter for Maya, that was a total game changer. It sped up our process a bunch. And it works so seamlessly with Maya and with Babylon. It's really incredible that we can put all of these different animations in and just mark the time differences when an animation stops and ends.
And boom. Yeah.
And yeah, it's great.
I love that.
Cool. I'd love to hear that. Yes.
I want to come back to something because I really want to make sure the audience is hearing this correctly, because it's really incredible technology. So please fill any gaps if I misunderstood this. Okay, Alexa. So you have a system that allows for human input. Let's just call it that, whether that be text or voice or whatever it is. You have an input, and then you have a system that's providing phoneme shapes, right? So there is an AI response that is saying, based on whatever response needs to come back to the human, here are the mouth shapes essentially that go along with the audio, the sound.
Yeah, it produced the audio and the mouth shape animation, right?
And so this is really interesting. So an AI model that provides both the audio, which again it is kind of that second step for where chatbots have come, and now to provide an AI model that provides the mouth, which is the shape that should be used, and then you, Alexa, are providing what does that mouth shape look like to humans.
Yes.
And that process is such a mind trip that you're going in. You're not hand animating the word golf ball. You're coming up with a series of shapes, and then an AI model is going, cool, well, here's the right mouth shapes I should use, and so I should draw this that Alexa gave me, which is kind of a mind-boggling concept. And then the end illusion is that a character is speaking to you with lip sync that is appropriately mapped to the audio file.
Yeah, and it was huge so we were actually on season 26 of Big Brother, and it was really huge for being on a live TV show. The producers were able to type things in and just put it out there.
Wait. So you were like, I missed a complete segment. You were used by Big Brother, the TV show?
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow. Like you dropped that like it's nothing.
Yeah. Wait. So is this a digital character that they like talked through, like puppeteered through your system?
Yeah. So the character Ainsley, she was their AI character for the season. It's so handy to have live rendering using Babylon and using the AI text-to-speech. I
just learned that Babylon was used during the Big Brother. It's mind-blowing. I need a break.
That just blew my mind. That's so cool. Wow. Okay.
And so that's your own AI, right? Like you guys are providing the characterization, but also the AI that knows how to get the phoneme correctly from the sound that needs to be produced, correct?
Yep.
That's incredible.
Yeah. Wow, that's really quite a feat, man.
Yeah.
I was not prepared.
It's super awesome, especially for rendering and animation. Rendering is such a long process typically. Being able to have this live rendering option means you're able to do spontaneous scripts and instantaneous actions and animations and all of that.
Okay, I need a message from you with a screenshot or a capture of the Big Brother plus the AI, so I can just brag around, right? Just for that.
Put it on your artwork wall in the background, David.
Yes, like here, right there.
Perfect.
Alexa, I have another creative meets technical question for you. So we talked about mouth shapes. I'm not going to have the right words, so please feel free. You're in this space more than I am. Feel free to fit the right words in here. But when we talk to each other right now, when I'm speaking, you are actually communicating to me as you're listening. You're nodding your head. You're making eye contact. There are certain things that happen that aren't mouth shapes. What do you do as a creative director to think about an AI model as I give it my input and I'm awaiting a response? Is there an idle thought animation that you have to think about? Is there a let me pace around? What is it doing while I'm speaking? Like, are you thinking about how humans behave and the psychology of how humans behave and trying to mimic that with animations? Tell me about that world.
Yeah, so one thing we all joke about is just how weird we've become in public because we love to stare and watch people and see how they interact with others.
That's
so
amazing.
We use that to improve our avatars.
That's amazing.
So what we do currently, exactly. What we do currently is we use the eyes. Eyes are very, very important in communication. When you move your head around, your eyes aren't always in the same position. So what we do is we use eye locking. So the eyes are focused on the camera. So when the avatar turns their head back and forth, the eyes are still on you. And it helps create that extra engagement.
That's really cool. I like that. And
Yeah,
so
me too.
as you're talking, the eyes are engaged with the camera, making it look they're looking right at me, basically, right through the screen at me.
Yes.
It could be fun if the AI start to multitask, like you look on the second screen, like we have in meetings. Up, come back.
Yeah. Okay, got it.
Exactly. We have all sorts of different animations that we can play. Some clients like when their avatars are really still and not moving around too much or being distracting. But other clients are like, have them do a little dance. They're not being to. Yeah.
That's so cool. Let's do this. I want to talk a little bit more about CodeBaby and give you a chance to talk about if someone's interested in this, what types of services, I guess, does CodeBaby offer? Is it like, hey, we'll do a full custom avatar for you with mouse shapes and animations and all of this? Is there a pre-canned set of build my own avatar, like a library you've built? Like what is the business? I mean, the technology is amazing. What does the business behind it look like?
Yeah, so we have both options. We have a self-service portal. If you go to our website, codebaby.com, you can just sign up for a demo and you can start playing around a little bit. We have a gallery of different avatars. You can go in, you can change their animations. You can change their lip sync mapping if you want to. You can manipulate it in any way you want, but most importantly, you can add your own conversation and your own voice to it. Whatever prompt you want, we feature something called scraping, where if you have a website, you can upload that link and it'll scrape for information on your website. And it'll generate a prompt out of that for you. So you don't even have to put in any work if you don't want to.
That's how AI should work, right? I don't want to work. AI should work for me. That's how.
Exactly, right? Yeah, might as well. Hey, AI is gonna do it, so let it do its thing.
Okay, so important question. It's September 19th on the day that we're filming today. It's a super important international holiday. Talk Like a Pirate Day. If I wanted to create an avatar that could talk like a pirate, could I come to CodeBaby and get that?
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, you got just one new customer. Congratulations.
I'm done. It's over. I'm done.
We do custom avatars. So if you want to have a conversation with me and work out what you want your character to look like, we'll go through the process of designing it together. Oh, cool. And then we offer services like 11 Labs as well. So you can go ahead and get in there, make your own character voice. We can use that with your avatar. So if you want to have that super cartoony pirate voice where your character goes arg every so often, you absolutely can.
Oh, I do want that for sure. That is a no question. I want that. That's incredible. And that's amazing.
Congratulations.
That's impressive. It sounds like you're really pioneering a business at a moment. I think let me back up. There's this really interesting thing that's happening, which is AI is evolving so quickly. Some people are having a hard time keeping pace with the level of innovation. Not only is CodeBaby able to keep pace, you're actually pioneering and building a business in that. And I think that's incredible because it's an overwhelming time to see what's happening out there.
Every week, something new, like what you thought was true or false is now the opposite. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, we were actually around well before ChatGPT. I was hired when ChatGPT came out, and we had a meeting. We all talked about it. We're like, oh, this is going to completely change our company. In the past, we worked with things like Dialogflow and IBM's Watson and stuff like that. And it's a completely different world today.
Yeah.
It was a giant leap for sure when ChatGPT came. Oh my gosh.
It's a bit different, that's for sure. It's amazing. Let me take us to another place real quick. I want to come back a little bit to your process and your pipeline. You work with clients. You can design different avatars, but basically there's a client need. You figure out creatively in Maya how to artistically meet the need, to create the art that will meet the need. The interaction layer happens in Babylon and use the exporter. as a creative person, I'm particularly interested in the iteration process of back and forth, because it's not, I do all my work, I export it, I'm done. That is not how creativity in 3D works. It is very much I do something, I bring it over, it's not working, let me go back and make some tweaks.
Try again. Yes.
I'm really curious about the back and forth for you. How has that been with Babylon? I want you to feel free to go, it can be better. like, tell me about that. What works well? Are there things that you found that are clunky or hard? Would love to hear part of the process.
Yeah, so of course, with all animation, I feel like there's always that back and forth moment. So really, not a lot of it, I would have to say, is negative on Babylon whatsoever.
Fantastic answer. Thank you very much.
Yeah, you're welcome. Great work again. But yeah, it's a lot of like manipulating textures and stuff. Once we bring it from Babylon into our portal, sometimes there's little lighting differences, or there's a camera difference, and we're like, okay, well, we can change the perspective on this a little bit. Having the ability to export those lights and cameras directly from Babylon is really, really nice, because it's going to be the closest we get to seeing what the final product will look like inside of our portal.
Do you use the sandbox, for instance, to test?
Yes, I use the sandbox all the time. I have the playground. I have a bit of code set up for me, so that way, whenever I have like two aspects of a different avatars that I like maybe the clothes is working really well on one, but the face is working better on another, I have a way to merge the two together. So I have a lot of preset stuff that definitely makes the process easier.
That's really, really cool. I love that. You mentioned that, so you're going from Maya to Babylon, maybe the sandbox, to preview things. Are there specific challenges involved in the morph targets or the blend shapes and seeing those previewed? Like, that part's really interesting to me, around like, I need the corner of the mouth to be a little higher here. Is that just literally put it into the portal, see it going with a test scenario, and then going back and starting over and go re-export? Or do you have an ability in your tool to actually make modifications to the shapes post Maya?
Afterwards, yes.
So often when I'm modeling the Bisings, I will do really extreme blend shapes. So like when you're making that E sound, it's a really like exaggerated version of it. Yeah. And then once we're in our portal, we have the ability to manipulate the value. So how strong is that E sound showing up? And that makes it a lot easier. So we don't have to like get to the final stage of working on an avatar, and then it's like, oh, that vowel is so off, we need to go back to square one, redo that. We get to just fix it in post, I guess. Fix it inside.
Yeah, fix it in post, I agree.
Yeah, that's clever, actually. You've built in buffer. You've built in the ability for you to say, yeah, we're going to go way too extreme, knowing that 100% for the client will be somewhere in here, but we've got all the buffer we could use visually we could ever possibly want. That's clever.
Did you explore using a node material editor, NME?
No, we have not explored that.
Okay. Well, I'm happy to discuss with you or your developer at some point. That's also because you are not into the utterly realistic world and more into the cartoony approach, right? NME could be a good way for you to control the shaders as well and make some experiment. I mean, if you're interested, I am happy to discuss with you or your developers.
Yeah, so we have used a couple of interesting shaders before. The one we did use was like a cartoon cell shaded shader, and that's been all we've really experimented with. But we'd love to get further into it.
Okay, with NME, we give the control to the creative person, mostly probably you or someone who wants to deal with the shaders in a high-level way. It's a little bit the SketchUp of editing shaders, if I may. That could be something you want to explore.
Yeah, we built NME really specifically for Alexa, for you, and for me. So at the highest level, it is a non-destructive node tree that sits on top of GLSL, with the shading language for WebGL. And that can be pretty, for a person who's predominantly more creative thinking, writing math-based code can be really daunting. Not always, but a lot of times it is. Certainly was for me. I had been fascinated by shaders for a long time, but never thought I'd ever be able to like do one or see one and write one. And then we did this tool and suddenly I was making shaders and it became like it unlocked a lot. So it's a really interesting thing to be able to try experimentation without having to write code, but it does output to code for final changes if you want to make it.
We definitely need to experiment.
Yeah, I mean, just fingers on the side. We'll check that.
I want to ask a question. I always like to put people on the spot a little bit and ask an uncomfortable question. Obviously, this is a Babylon podcast. We're here to talk about Babylon and how it's enabling CodeBaby, which we've talked a little bit about. I'd love to hear how Babylon has enabled things, and you've shared that. But the other side of that coin is you're in a real world scenario of using Babylon in a company to try and pioneer something. It cannot be perfect, Alexa. It cannot be.
No, I disagree completely.
It is.
What the fuck?
We obsess. Yeah, sorry, David. You know this. We obsess about the fact that we don't think what we have is perfect. And in that obsession, we want it to be the best it can be. And so we're constantly chasing improvement. So what would you say, what advice would you have for us, the creators of Babylon, that we could do to make your life better? And don't hold back. What could be better for you?
I think the biggest thing would have to be rendering quality. I know GLB always has its limitations. Live rendering always has its limitations, especially we work on websites and places with bad Wi-Fi and everything else. So it's definitely a challenging thing, but we have a lot of people asking for more intense rendering quality, something closer to what you see in movies and stuff. And obviously that's probably so far off. It's very difficult to achieve without all of that extra time. That's why it takes so long to render things in Maya and Babylon. Yeah. But it would be really cool to see eventually.
And that's where NME can help, right? Because so far you are limited by GLTF to only use PBR, right? One impersonification of the physically based rendering shaders. But technically, thanks to NME, you can open a door to a completely different world where you can push the envelope on what you want to focus on. If you are not into realistic, but very much into cartoon, you can really get into closer to, I see Spider-Man behind you. So we can go closer to this kind of rendering with NME, for instance, where we open the gate and not just being limited by PBR.
Oh, wow. Okay. Yeah. I've got some homework to do then, for sure.
You raise a really interesting high level challenge I imagine CodeBaby's up against as well, which is so web. Babylon is web based. There is a separation between pre-rendered, which movies are, right, where you send something off and it can have all night to calculate and render a single frame, to real time, which is 60 frames a second. There's obviously technical challenges there, but within that, there's another interesting one, which is cross-platform. Yep. Devices with different capabilities. I don't know if CodeBaby obsesses about this. We obsess a lot about, can Babylon run on the best GPU and the one that is maybe barely even capable of calling itself a GPU?
We call them potatoes. We need to run on potatoes, right?
A potato computer, yeah. So, there's a unique design challenge, a technical design challenge and a creative design challenge to say, because theoretically, you can crank the dials on Babylon way up. The question, though, is at what cost, right? So I have a beefy graphics card on my machine. I could put in probably way more lights into my scene than could render on a super low-end smartphone, right? And so there is this interesting balance in a design sense of rendering versus low-end device and performance, and that kind of blend. We say we're trying to create one of the most powerful, beautiful, simple web rendering engines, but it's actually a combination of those things. How do you increase beauty or rendering fidelity without necessarily lowering performance to the point where a potato computer can't render it? And that balance is an art form, I think I would say.
It's the bane of my existence, but yes.
Yeah. But I love that feedback. I'll mention this. Our dev team obsessively looks at the industry, the rendering industry, looking at what innovations are happening, what advances in research are happening that allow the GPUs to be used in more clever ways. I'll give you a brief example of something. We haven't actually publicly announced this yet, but I'll go ahead and do it now.
Wow.
Organized leak. Big moment, right big leak moment. Babylon calculates lighting in rendering in a very specific way. That means that our average is you can have about 4 lights in a scene before low-end devices really start taking off. Well, a lot of times you want a lot more finesse over that. And so an advancement in rendering and a technique in rendering called cluster lighting is something where you can basically use the math for 1 or 2 lights, but actually have it calculate with many. That's my oversimplification of it. We're bringing cluster lighting to Babylon 9, allowing you to have thousands of different lights in a scene at one time.
We have a scene running with 10,000 lights. Dynamic.
Wow, this is huge news. Thank you for being willing to share this with me on this podcast. I'm very excited for this.
Yeah, the point of me saying that is I think you're spot on that rendering is never done. Rendering quality is never done. It is an unending mission, and we are absolutely obsessed with getting closer to that movie VFX real world quality thing while balancing 60 frames a second. And every year. If you look,
exactly. It's a moving target. I was about to say that. If you look, I am a big fan of Blizzard and Warcraft game. I play World of Warcraft. And one thing that it's known from everyone is like all the intro that they make for every season or games, they are like masterpieces. Like when you look
at the cinematics.
The cinematics they create are masterpieces. You may not be interested in Blizzard or whatsoever, but the quality of it's crazy good. But then if you go in the past, like 15 years ago, like 5 years ago, and you look at their cinematics, it's what we are doing right now in real time. Literally, when you look at Warcraft 3 Frozen Throne, the intro is like, okay, I can do that in real time, no problem. So we have this moving window, right, of 15 to 20 years, where the real time of today is actually the pre-compute time of 20 or 15 years ago. And so we just run that race, right? And sometimes we jump a little bit like with cluster light or the frame graph we are introducing. And sometimes we have like crazy advancements because Pixar engineer found a way to render realistically bird or skin or whatsoever. So they jump, like it's a race.
That's just so well said. I love that you said both pieces of that. Because yes, like if real-time rendering is over here and pre-rendered is over here, there is this thing that moves where like, yes, absolutely. And 15 years ago, you would look at Blizzard Cinematics and go, that's amazing, but because our expectations change with that moving thing, it's interesting that real time tends to look a little less than. But I love what you added, David, which is, I got to emphasize this. It's not just this smooth constant, because there are moments where it's like,
we jump, exactly.
We shrunk it. And then there's moments where it's like, we're further behind because there was an advancement again. And that absolutely is the perpetual moving target. You're right.
I can remember when Untangled came, right? And I saw the hair of
Tangled.
Tangled, like, oh my God. I was like, okay, we doomed. Like, we will never do that. And actually, they introduced PBR. It was open, and then we moved from just standard shaders to PBR, and we jumped back, right? I showed to my daughter, she's 10-year-old, Outrun. I don't know if you know Outrun. It's a very old game on the Sega. And at that time, I was with my friend, like 30 years ago, and we were like, okay, we reached the peak of what humanity can create in real-time rendering. Like Outrun on the Sega was like, okay, we're done. Like parallax shaders, like 20 sprites on the screen. Okay, stop the game. Like, we're done. And it happens all the time. Like I recently watched The Bad Guys 2 and was like, oh my gosh, that's so freaking good in the non-PBR, in a non-realistic way. Like, oh my, when we will be able to do that, right? And that's always the same story, right? We just jump.
Yep. That's so well said. I think that's a great way to visually describe how we obsess about rendering and how it is we would hope that we would catch up one day. 10 years would say we're not going to, but we're going to keep trying. Every day, we keep trying.
When ray tracing will be available to the web, because it will be at some point thanks to Web GPU, the ray tracing shadows and the ray tracing illumination will then be available in real time, right? And so we're going to just jump, right? And simultaneously, AI will render far more advanced stuff on the non-rendering time, right? So what's that?
I love it. I love it. I think we need to bring our time to a close. Alexa, I just want to first and foremost say thank you so much for joining us. Thanks for using Babylon. Thanks for reaching out to us and connecting and showing us the amazing stuff you're doing.
Yeah, I'm so impressed. Like we made it to the Big Brother, right? So when I called my wife, cool. I said, you know what?
Congrats on your success. And just one last kind of call to action. If anyone is interested in what you're doing, wants to reach out, just CodeBaby.com. Is that the best place for people to go find out more information?
Yeah, CodeBaby.com. And just to shout out to, we're working currently on a education-based application to make it more affordable for kids in lower income school districts to get access to tutoring without any of the cheating. So if you know,
so cool. That's
if you know any educators or any school admins at all, and you want to pass that on, tell them to go to CodeBaby.com and request more information. We've got a pilot program going right now, but we're going to start taking early access sign-up soon.
Oh, it's so cool. Okay. We've talked on previous episodes about the idea that LLMs have become personal tutors, or you could use them for personal tutors. And there's a psychology involved that I'm obsessed with, which is you don't feel dumb for asking a question, whereas with another human, you might. And this is so cool that you're
ever.
Yeah, no, never. You're taking those advancements we talked about earlier in this episode of the visualization, the characterization, as you put it, of AI, and now you're bringing it to that element of that personal tutor, which I just adore. I think that's so cool and very, very meaningful. That's going to be awesome. That's going to be amazing.
Thank you, Alexa. Thank you. Alexa.
Yeah, thank you for your time. Thanks for joining us. And we wish you all the best, and maybe hope to have you back on the podcast again sometime in the future as the platform continues to develop.
Oh, I would absolutely love that.
All right, anytime. That's the goal of this podcast. As soon as you have something to share, we can just bring you back and talk about it.
Absolutely. Thanks for coming on. And thank you very much for joining in. We'll see you in the next one.
Cheers.
Bye, everyone.
Thank you.